This isn't about love or family or forgiveness anymore. This is about power, silence, and a knife-sharp plan that's been unfolding behind palace walls while the rest of the world was distracted by headlines, interviews, and Netflix confessionals. This is the story nobody wanted you to notice until now.
Day. Prince William doubles down. According to multiple sources, it's now a matter of when, not if, he strips Prince Harry and Meghan Markle of their royal title.
Meghan Markle thinking how this woman is completely unraveling, because now she doesn't get that a royal title, it is not property. She's now threatening to sue Prince William.
While cameras chased statements and microphones chased outrage, something far colder was happening in London. Something methodical, something deliberate. Because while one side was speaking loudly, the other side was saying nothing at all, and in royal circles, silence is never empty. It's loaded. The pattern was obvious to anyone paying attention. Every time the spotlight drifted toward the future king, another press release appeared like clockwork. Another interview. Another carefully timed revelation. But behind the noise, behind the theatrics, a different game was being played, not on television screens, but in private rooms where history isn't discussed, it's written. And here's the uncomfortable truth. While Meghan was building a brand, William was building a system that doesn't shout, a system that doesn't explain, a system that doesn't forgive.
She is not a blood royal, so herself, she's not titled. People keep calling her Duchess Meghan, putting the title before the name. That only applies to blood royal.
No cameras, no leaks, no sympathetic documentaries. Just closed doors and quiet meetings that stretched back years. Meetings that weren't about feelings or family dinners, but about survival. Because the divide between father and son wasn't emotional, it was philosophical. Charles believes in mercy, always has. He believes time heals wounds, that patience softens anger, that eventually everyone comes home. He wants harmony, tea, conversations, hope. William doesn't believe in hope. William believes in consequences. He watched the damage pile up, interview after interview, book after book, each one cutting into the monarchy's credibility while the palace stood still. And at some point, something snapped. Not loudly, not publicly, quietly. He came to a conclusion that chilled the room. Mercy wasn't healing the wound, it was letting it rot. And from that moment on, the strategy changed.
I do feel that actually having done it once...
This wasn't rage. This wasn't revenge. This was triage. William stopped seeing people. He started seeing vulnerabilities, weak points, exploits, a system being gamed by those who wanted the prestige without the burden. And that's when the focus sharpened on one thing above all else, the title. That single word, Duchess. The word attached to jam jars, podcasts, speaking fees, book covers, red carpets. The word that turned celebrity into currency. The word that made everything else possible. William understood something brutal. If the title goes, the illusion collapses.
Meghan's actually threatened that she's going to take out some sort of terrible thing if it does happen, that she won't allow that to happen. But we'll see what the fight is when it gets going.
Where Charles saw family breaking apart, William saw an institution bleeding credibility. He didn't ask who was right or wrong. He asked one question only. What happens if this continues? And the answer terrified him. An institution that lets people leave, monetize the crown, criticize it, and still keep the crown's symbols doesn't survive. It dissolves. Slowly, quietly, publicly. So he did what heirs who intend to rule actually do. He prepared.
Or any monarch who dares take her title away. Meghan is only using a royal title, her husband's royal title that he holds for now.
This wasn't PR. This wasn't damage control. This was a war council in tailored suits. Constitutional historians, royal strategists, experts who understand the crown not as a family, but as a machine that has outlived empires. Their mission was simple and ruthless. Draw a line so clear no one could ever pretend not to see it again. Who was royal? Who was not? Who serves? Who profits? No vibes, no assumptions, no loopholes. The philosophy they landed on was devastating in its simplicity. Service equals status. No service equals exit. Not punishment. Not drama, just math.
Themselves so far, they have behaved so badly. They still and they're taking what happens within the royal family and smashes it.
You work for the institution, you keep the title. You walk away, The institution doesn't follow you. No half in, no half out, no exceptions dressed up as compassion. Because when everything is royal, nothing is.
And Meghan just thinks she's too wonderful to be left out of it, and she will win because she'll go to court if she doesn't keeps her title. I don't know, it's very hard. It's very hard to lose your title. But I do really hope that it's taken away. I mean, she's complained for over 6 years now.
Exclusivity is the oxygen of monarchy. Strip it away, and the crown suffocates. A duchess selling lifestyle products isn't tradition, it's dilution. Prestige turned into merch. History turned into influencer aesthetics. William wasn't angry, he was alarmed. And while one side believed compromise would fix everything, William rejected compromise entirely. Rules don't negotiate. Systems don't apologize. They either function or they collapse.
Nobody wants her. She's not going to listen to things she's been told. And so let them together anywhere they like, do what they like. As for their children.
And here's where everything turns lethal. The mechanism already exists. Letters patent. Boring name, nuclear power. One document, one signature. No parliament, no vote, no public debate. Just ink, and history rewrites itself overnight. This isn't theoretical, it's precedent. It's been done before. When the royal pool got crowded. When titles lost meaning. When the crown needed to remind the world who decides. And according to whispers that refuse to die, the paperwork already exists. Drafted, locked away, waiting for the right moment, waiting for the crown to decide that silence has gone on long enough. Because when that signature lands, the title doesn't disappear in a scandal, it evaporates in bureaucracy. No fight, no spectacle, just an update released like any other administrative change. And suddenly, everything shifts. The rooms change, the introductions change, the fees change. The power dynamic changes. The title that built an empire becomes a footnote. And the most chilling part? No one will be able to stop it. The realization hit like a delayed earthquake. Not loud, not immediate, but once it landed, it cracked everything underneath. Because this wasn't about losing relevance, it was about losing legitimacy. And legitimacy is the one thing money, fame, and media exposure can't replace. Behind closed doors in California, the mood shifted. Advisors stopped speaking in hypotheticals and started speaking in timelines. Not if, but when. Because once you understand how quietly this can be done, you understand how little warning there will be. No dramatic announcement, no emotional speech, no public condemnation. Just a notice, dry formal, final. And suddenly, the word Duchess stops being official reality and becomes decorative nostalgia. That's when panic really set in. The first instinct was control. Control the narrative, control the branding, control the name. Because if the palace controlled the title, then maybe the workaround was ownership. Trademark it, package it, turn it into intellectual property before it could be stripped away. If royalty could be taken, maybe branding couldn't. But that idea died fast. Because the crown doesn't chase people, it blocks exits before they're even visible. Every potential loophole had already been sealed. Commercial use of royal titles? Locked. Independent branding tied to royal status? Restricted. The message couldn't have been clearer if it were stamped in wax. You don't own what the crown lends you. And that's when the imbalance became undeniable. One side was reacting. The other side had already finished planning. What made this especially brutal was how unemotional it all was. No insults, no counterattacks, no clapbacks, just policy, frameworks, precedents, the kind of moves that don't trend, but last forever. This is where William's influence becomes unmistakable. He didn't rush, he didn't leak, he didn't posture, he studied. He watched other monarchies cut weight, tighten ranks, and survive modern scrutiny by doing the unthinkable, saying no. Denmark proved it could be done. Sweden showed the backlash fades. The Netherlands demonstrated clarity beats chaos. And the public always adjusts. That's the part people underestimate. Outrage burns hot, but it burns fast. Confusion lasts longer. William chose clarity. Because clarity doesn't ask permission. By the time whispers reached Hollywood, it was already too late to reshape the outcome. Studios don't wait for official announcements. They read the temperature. They calculate risk. They smell instability. And nothing makes executives nervous like a brand built on a title that might vanish with the signature. That's when the invitations subtly changed. The introductions quietly shortened. The emphasis shifted from status to personality. And here's the uncomfortable truth no one wants to say out loud. Celebrity alone doesn't command silence in powerful rooms. Royalty does. Or at least, it did. Take away the institutional backing, and something fragile is exposed. Because celebrity is rented, monarchy is inherited. One fades when attention moves on, the other survives generations of boredom. Without that royal anchor, the equation changes. Media still listens, but they don't lean in the same way. The mystique dulls, the leverage softens, and suddenly the story has to work harder to justify itself. Meanwhile, back in London, the atmosphere is different now. Calm, focused, almost relieved, like an institution that finally stopped reacting and started steering again. The chaos that once felt endless now feels contained, managed, anticipated. That's the most telling shift of all. This wasn't about destroying anyone, it was about removing ambiguity. About restoring a line that had been blurred so badly it threatened the entire structure. The monarchy didn't lash out, it recalibrated. And William didn't wait for a crown to do it. He understood something most people miss. Power doesn't announce itself when it's real. It moves quietly, changes rules, and lets everyone else argue about symptoms while the cause is already resolved. By the time the public fully understands what happened, it will already be normal. No duchess, no scandal, just the new reality. And that's the coldest part of all. No villain, no victory lap. Just evolution doing what it's always done, trimming what no longer serves the future. Because institutions that last 1,000 years don't survive by being sentimental. They survive by being ruthless when it counts. And right now, the system is choosing permanence over personality. The noise will continue, interviews will still air, stories will still be told, but the ground beneath them has shifted. And once legitimacy is gone, it never quite comes back the same way. This wasn't a public fight, it was a silent correction. And by the time anyone realized what was happening, the door wasn't slammed, it was already closed.